Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Please like and subscribe. Today is one of those days where I usually set up for the week. I usually do these videos, I edit them on Sunday. But this week I wanted to talk about listening to your intuition, because I had a couple of instincts this week where listening to my intuition could have helped me so much, but I didn't do it. And if you're wondering, what do you mean listening to your intuition? What does that mean? I'm not trying to get woo-woo. I just felt like this was something I wanted to talk about because it happened to me, and I was like, I wonder if anybody else feels this way or if this has happened to them. And I don't have some amazing advice because there's a lot of gurus out there, but I just wanted to just put it out in the world and, and see what people say. I have been trying really hard to sort of improve my life in terms of all different things, but specifically spiritually, like my self-esteem, my spirit, just, having a better quality of life, all those things. And one of the things that I've noticed as I kind of look back on my life and things that's happened is that my intuition, my definition is that little voice in your head that gives you guidance, like for different things, not necessarily always bad things, but most cases they're the ones that are like, move out the way when the car is coming. So for me, it's been, I don't know, I have a lot of common sense, but sometimes that common sense kind of goes out the door in certain situations. So my intuition has been a very quiet voice, a very subtle, quiet voice. And I think that's normally what everybody has, a little quiet voice. But I started reading and just watching a lot of like spiritual people. One particular person who I'll put a link to their page is Sonia Choquette. And she is a spiritual guru or more of a seer. I think of her as a guru. I started reading her one book, and I just watch her videos. I really like her energy and I like what she says. And she's mostly talking about listening to that voice, your intuition. And she's had like really great examples of her just really like honing that voice to help guide her. She does a lot of, it sounds like she listens to it a lot. Like I feel like I need a little bit of control over my life. I don't know if I could listen to it as much as she does, but she's had some really like incredible circumstances and situations come about because she listens to her intuition. I'm trying to really hone into my intuition, hone into me, hone into what I need, and hone into what this life is about, my life is about, right? So this week, and it's been happening, I would say most of my life, but consistently this past half of the year already, we're in April, that my intuition has been telling me to do certain things, and sometimes I listen, right? And sometimes I'm like, whatever. And this week I had something happen where I really, really, really should have listened to my intuition. It was like literally screaming at me, don't do this, don't agree to this. Not to get into it too much, I do a lot of freelance work, and one of my bosses asked me to do something for them one day of the week, and I was like, yeah, sure. Like I've done it before, but then they kind of switched it up on me a little bit, and they were like, is that okay? And something in me was like, no, that's not okay. Don't say no. Turn them down, because this wasn't the first agreement. And I was like, oh, why not? What could it hurt? Wow. It ended up being a disaster, a complete mess of a situation. And I wish I would have listened to my intuition, because it was really like, I think the day before the thing happened, it was like, it was like, God, sick, this is a bad idea. I was like, no, you know, and what was wild is, I've been kind of keeping track of my money during the week, and I had worked enough that week that my weekly budget, I was good with money. Not to say, I mean, we can always use more money, but if I were to say no, I would have been okay. But I was like, I was kind of being greedy. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. But I already had plans for later in the afternoon. So it was like, I double booked myself on top of that to help my boss. And it ended up being a disaster. And then the secondary event, I didn't have the energy to go, because it was such a, oh man, when it's bad, it's bad. I was invited to a secondary event, and I ended up just going for a little bit. And I was like really looking forward to this other event. And because I said yes to something I really shouldn't, I said yes to, or kind of been like, you know what, I don't appreciate that, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, and now it's just like, I might not have that client anymore because it totally went astray. And at this point, I'm like, oh well. Like, oh well. That's how I'm feeling. So, yeah, I feel like, gosh, at this point, I'm going to listen to my stupid intuition. You're not stupid, intuition. You're great. As soon as it's like, I mean, it was more than intuition. It was like common sense. Like, it's like the addition that my boss did, I should have been like, and they paid me more for it, but it was still like sketchy. Like, I should have been like, oh, no. I don't think that's a good idea. I've been more forthright and expressive of my feelings, which is something I'm trying to learn, like trying to be as clear as I can, because I've for a long time have been like easygoing, which easygoing does not easygoing is BS. Like, you want to be easygoing, you want to be, you know, like easy to work with, or this is one that I've definitely done, like be small, not to inconvenience other people. Like, I definitely have done that just because I don't want to make anybody feel bad, or, you know, I'm like, oh, I'll just take whatever. And yeah, this week that it came to a head. I was like, you know what, not doing that anymore. Like, no, absolutely not. But it had to, also that line of work that I kind of took the extra work for, I've been thinking about leaving it anyway. So this was just like a big, like, explosive revelation. Like, I was like, yeah, for sure, I'm not doing any of this anymore. But it didn't have to come to that. That's the thing. Because I remember telling my therapist, well, the one I broke up with, watch that video, for months and months that I didn't want to do this type of work anymore. And I was figuring out ways to do other things. And yeah, I was really like, there's got to be other things. And I remember the day that this whole kerfuffle happened, I talked to a friend of mine, and she was like, oh, I'm so sorry, that sucks. And she was giving me ideas, and I was like, yeah, you know, I think I'll take a little break from doing this, or just be a little more selective with the clients I work with, which is another thing that's really important. Now that I'm having to think about it, like, your energy is more valuable than money. Your energy and time. Energy and time are so valuable. And I get it. We are living in some unprecedented times where work is very lacking. And I myself, you know, I'm always working. I always find work. If you know me in real life, you know that I've been working since I was 12. And even, you know, even when things are down and people don't have work, I seem to find work. But this has been a really hard time. Like, I've been applying for a lot of work and I can't find anything. And people have been like talking about it. Well, I don't know who these other people who are like, oh, you guys are complaining about nothing. No, it's really hard to find a job out there. You know, I don't know what's going to happen. The economy's in the crapper. We're in war. But yeah, even who I always find work. I have a lot of different experiences, and I've never kind of I like variety in my life, so I have very different options. So I have a lot of different experiences. So I always get hired for different things, and toot my own horn. I find it really hard out there. Like, I remember working at an event as co-check girl. I'm meeting a guy who just graduated college, and we were talking, and I was like, yeah, it's really hard out there to find a job. And he was like, if you, with all your experience, are having a hard time finding work, then what about me? I just left college. I'm like, I felt for him, because he's like, I'm having the worst time finding work. And it's just like, I feel for people who just got out of college. So I know that feeling. I know that feeling of leaving school. In some cases you have loans and you're just like, I just want to work. I just want to work. I mean, honestly, that's how I feel. I just wanted to work. And as long as the bills are paid, yeah, fine. As long as it's legal, right? As long as it's legal, I'm down for it. But yeah, I wondered if you guys don't mind sharing any experiences where, in that case, my intuition was like, it went from being like a quiet little child to like a loud, obnoxious cab driver, and was like, girl, don't do this. And you're like, but, and whatever the reason, because also on top of the money, I didn't want to disappoint the person, right? And I ended up, I don't know, I told him, I don't think this is working out for me. I don't think this is a good idea. So we might actually end up parting ways. Sad, because I came from a place I didn't want to disappoint the person, and it ended up being like, we might not be working again together. But I just want to know if you guys had that experience where, and it could be something as small as like, oh, I was driving and then something told me to veer left instead of right, and I usually veer right, and I don't know, there was a car accident, or in the same vein, like, oh, you know, something was like, you should go get donuts. You should go get a Coke. Aren't you thirsty? Go get gas now, you know? And you usually don't. You're like, I usually just keep going, and then you stop for like 10 minutes. And if you were on the same trajectory 10 minutes ago, you would have been stuck in an accident, or, you know, or maybe the opposite. You leave earlier and you missed an accident. Like, and I'm just saying accidents because they seem to be the most extreme, but it could just be as simple as, I had another situation just like this when I was living in California. I needed $50 for something, and it was like due today. And I was just like, damn, where am I gonna get $50? I was like really broke. And I was walking, I went on a walk because I was, you know, it's California, it's beautiful. And I was all hell-bent on, like, I was in great shape. So I went on a walk, and I passed by this house, and there was like a pile of like garbage, right? And on the pile of garbage, there was like an envelope, like a card, like a birthday card or something. So I passed it by, and then I kept walking, and then I came back, and I was like, I should pick up that card. So I picked up the card, and I put it in my jacket, and I walked around, and I came back. I opened the card, and there was $50 in it. Yeah, that was wild. I was like, whoa. It didn't have an address on it. It had the kid's name on it. Well, it was a kid's card from his grandma. I was like, oh, well, but it doesn't have his, I guess he lost it. Eddie, I'm sorry. Thank you. Like, I'm sure you got that $50 back tenfold because you helped me. But like situations like that, like just things just end up working out, or like, you know, you're veered off of course for the day. You're like, you usually go this way, but you're like, you know, today I'm going to go this way, and something amazing happens. I've had that same situation with meeting people or finding jobs. Like, I've had it happen a lot, but lately, I don't know. This is the other thing. Since the pandemic, I feel like my little like manifesting antennas has been all like wibbly wobbly. Like, I just have not been able to get back on a decent track. To be honest, it's been the whole decade. I feel like since 2016, I've just been like, my antenna, like I used to be really good at figuring out stuff and getting like random things. And then it, like for like 2016 to like around now, which is a whole decade right there, I've just been having trouble getting in tune, and I'm trying to get back in tune because it was a good feeling. So maybe I'll talk more about getting back in tune. But anyway, let me know if you've ever had this experience, if you've ever had your intuition. You probably have more dramatic things where intuition has saved your life. I'm sure I've had it. If I keep thinking about stuff, I probably have some story where intuition has saved my life. And if you've ever, like, you know how the gurus say it's like a radio station. If you've been on the right radio station and suddenly it's veered to another station and it's taken you a minute, because I'm in that kind of stage. I used to have really good intuition, and now it's like, and it's starting to go back, thankfully. But it's taken me some time and effort to do it. So let me know where you are at, if you believe in it, because I'm sure if you don't, you'll tell me. Thanks. Be kind in the comments. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Until next time, bye.